actually, somebody had once told me that Adelaide was a really powerful place for me.
Really? Was it Andrew? Did Andrew?
Yeah. It was Andrew, I think. Yeah. I knew that.
I went to Andrew just before the pandemic.
Told me.
This is Gillian doing an introduction now. We're obviously on.
Oh, we're on silent.
Hi, Gillian. Hi. Thank you. It's so strange to see people in an auditorium, isn't it?
I can't see. Can you see?
Oh, can you see? Is the camera's on here now? Look at that. Go to.
Yeah, I can.
Gillian's Zoom link.
I can see. Yeah.
Can you
I can't
see her?
see the auditorium.
I think the camera. But it's strange to see people in a space together with no masks.
I can see a few people wandering around. That's it.
Yeah, I think they have. We're able to chat away. What's the situation like in Bulgaria, COVID-wise?
Well, it's not good, but you know.
Really?
Yeah, it's not good, but they're pretty lax there. I mean, you know, I have a document the size of a book to bring in. They never even bother looking at it.
Okay. I think. Can you still hear me, Owen?
I can hear you, but I can also hear distorted Gillian, I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm not really sure what's happening. Just go with the flow. We'll just go with the flow, you know?
I can't wait to hang out with you anyway when I get back.
No, I can't wait.
I'm probably going to go straight out west when I get back.
Are you?
And do my self-isolation there for the 2 weeks.
That's a great idea, to be honest.
Yeah, and then I have
to go to park or something.
Huh? No, I'm going out to the old family home. I'll just use that.
Oh, okay. Well, have you heard anything from Susan?
Not the thing.
I'm really worried. I emailed her about 2 weeks ago and let her know about this and everything. It's not like her to not get back around the time there's a show on, or
not at all.
It's unusual. Like I might try and get in touch with Paul and just check in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's very unusual. Like I haven't heard anything back. All I got ever was Paul at Christmas time sending a message around. Yeah. So yeah, I'll do the same. Maybe I'll send a message to Paul. Although I'm never sure who's who on their bloody emails and phones, because they're like both. They use one another's emails and phones. So.
Yeah.
But I think she must be in. There must be something going on.
Yeah. This is like, you know, I think I sent her down something at Christmas time, and then I emailed her about 2 weeks. But it's unusual to not hear anything from her, you know.
Yeah. Oh look, there's a message from Gillian. What she's saying is your audio breaking up.
Not between.
Yeah, I'll say that. Not between.
Like the internet connection is real strong here, actually.
And Jessie.
Yeah, I'm going to just get some water. It's much better here than in Tala. So you're going to quarantine down in the west?
I think I'll do that, because then I'll be able to go out and about a bit more, and you know, be at the ocean and everything. Because I'm going to.
And it's a nice time of year for it as well, and like it's really like bright and sunny now.
That's what David said. He said the weather's kind of improved now.
Yeah, it's meant to be gorgeous this weekend.
Is it like an Irish weather here today?
Oh, is it? Well, you've got a great stormy background there. I love your background.
I keep forgetting that I have that.
So good.
That goes back to when I used to be going into Zoom rehearsals.
Yeah, it looks really great.
The kids loved it. So I left.
Yeah. So what's your plan for the rest of the year?
I've got all this audio thing that I have to finish, which is just going to be an audio. It was always going to be an audio piece, but we were going to record it in a studio, and now we can't. And they keep coming back to me with more stuff, a hell of a lot. Anyway, so I have to do that.
What's audio? Like, is it an audio, like,
kind of
reading?
Audio play, sort of.
Okay.
And then I'm also doing a project with Kelly Hughes. She's got this Beckett project that she wants to work on with me and a few other people. So I agreed to do. She got the funding, so I agreed to do. It's about 3 weeks on that in April.
Yeah.
And that's it. Then I'm all yours.
Fantastic. I'm getting excited. I had a production meeting with Aaron 2 days ago, and just kind of laid out a little bit like some of the kind of parameters of what I want to do in the gallery.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have those chats with Aaron and just kind of go, okay, is this possible?
That in the Tala Gallery.
Yeah, in the Tala Gallery. Yeah, it's possible. So yeah. All systems go now for starting when you get back, you know.
Excellent. Well, is that okay that I'm not free in April much of the time?
No, that's totally fine. I'm just going to work with Aaron on all the pre-production, and just get like all that stuff locked in, and then we can do some development. I can even come out west, because I'm going to go back down to West Cork in a few weeks.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we could look at that. And if not, I could probably, when I'm back up in Dublin with the Beckett thing, I can probably make it out to Tala as well.
Do a little walk. We could do a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a little walk. Oh my God. That was such an epic walk. Oh, and I have to tell you, that like feels like 10 years ago.
I know.
Because remember the story I told you about my friend?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like that got so hardcore. That situation got so hardcore. It's been really intense. I like nearly had a breakdown about that last year.
Oh my God.
And it's ongoing. Like it just opens your eyes to how bad the support system is for women who are in those situations. Like really bad. We don't have support systems for that.
Yeah.
You know, like you hear about it and then you go, oh, I'm sure like you can phone a number or ring the guards or whatever. No. So, and it's pretty hardcore across the board. I wonder what's going on in
I think they're wishing that we can hear them, but we can't.
Can't hear that.
Yeah, because she said, is our audio breaking up? And I said, Jessie and I can hear each other, but we can't hear you guys.
Can you do lip reading? I'm going to pin this video and see.
It's only because they're tiny.
They're very tiny for lip reading.
I only see you.
I am so shocked to see people in a space together not wearing masks.
Oh, well, that's just been my life.
Other people are touching. It's quite erotic to see somebody touching a thing that somebody else touches. You know?
I know. You see, this is why it's going to be a culture shock when I go back, because, you know, I've been working physically in a room, when I'm sweating like mad and the trumpeter is dribbling like mad. we don't wear masks.
Oh my God.
And I've been working on this other project which I've had going for ages, which is this Austrian playwright, and so we've done 2 readings of that, and we've all been in a small room reading, and totally different, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. It is amazing. I'm feeling a bit like, yeah, it's so intense now. I'm so used to being online. I'm getting really worried that like I'm not gonna know how to be in a room with people again.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm worried. I feel like it was good to come to do this and meet all my friends tomorrow for walks. You're just training yourself to like actually still be in the world. You know, it's really train. The muscle memory you lose, you know.
Such a shame you couldn't get over here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, do you know Nina McGowan? Do you know Nina McGowan, the artist? I think you might have met her with me. She's really energetic, and she lives on a boat down on the canal. But she actually moved to Egypt, and it's super like affordable and cheap. Like it's cheaper than living in Dublin. Yeah. So she was just pissed off with Dublin. She moved to a place just for like a year or whatever, Dahar, in Egypt, and it's like a place for diving and all of that. And she was trying to get me to go over, but then like my cousin got sick and I didn't want to leave my man and everything. I'm just such a good idea. Why not live in Egypt?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? There's no COVID there.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, there's phone calls happening. This looks pretty intense, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, because they're past the time that the thing's supposed to start, and there's people walking in. Look.
Oh my God, there's people in a room.
I wonder if any of my people going. Lots of your people will be there. Of course.
Oh, I hear something.
Very briefly.
Oh, Ali's looking to get in. I'm sending the link to Alison, actually. Tessa might turn up as well. I'm sending my link, so we might have Tessa coming in as well. She really wanted to see you.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, so many people. This is mad, isn't it?
Sure, tonight I'm going to a show.
Are you? Where are you going to?
Just down the road.
What's the show? Is it part? It's not in the festival. Well, you're in Sydney, aren't you?
Yeah, it's called Skin Deep, and it's the National College of Art here in Sydney putting it on, and my friend is in it. I'm just thinking, there am I going to a show? There'll be singing, there'll be everything, and yeah, we have to wear masks sitting in the audience, but you're right beside somebody.
Wow.
Distance.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Imagine being in a show. What is the kind of word on the ground you're getting from like other like theatre makers and everything in Ireland? Are they kind of pissed off?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing happening really in theatre. I mean, there's this whole hybrid culture emerging, and some of them do it better than others, which is basically online stuff, and some of it is just unwatchable, and others aren't bad at all. But you have to make a real commitment to watch them, The Druid did a lovely one there recently because it was just 3 monologues, so it worked.
Yeah, like it can translate.
Yeah, and they did it in the theatre with proper lighting and proper cameraman and everything like that, So so it did work, but limited what can work.
Yeah.
And
I think it's good as well to take the time to like stay and rest.
So like this is the thing. It's like there's quite a few people who feel like that, but then there's quite a few who are kind of frantic doing things, So more people who sort of have gotten a chance that then kind of fell apart, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can understand that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Here.
I've been I'm just send this to Ali. I've been actually chatting away because Grace Dias is working on the project in Brewer Red as well.
Yes.
And been chatting away to Grace, and she is hilarious at the moment. She's living on Inisheer with her partner because he's high risk. So they're isolating on Inisheer. So she's like mad for the Skyping.
Yeah.
She'll and be like, Skype, I just need to rant. And like she's brilliant online. Like
I'm gonna call back.
I don't even bother watching Netflix. I just like Grace.
Well, look, you're live. You're live there, I think.
Maybe we're live.
Yeah, they can see you talking to me. Oh no, not me there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is the auditorium on this one.
Oh yeah, I just see half your face. I see half of my
I
face.
see you projected now. I see you projected now.
Yeah.
This is so surreal because we're just like having a mess, and all of it is going on a big screen.
How I wonder how the people in Inshir reacted to them coming out there, though.
Yeah. Well, Sherkin is a bit strange like that.
Mm. Can't hear you, Jessie.
See.
Hi Annie, my name's Gillian. I'm just in Alan Scott Auditorium on the Hop building, and I am trying to run an event where we've got sound, but we've got no one here. I've got no sound, so I'm just wondering if I could get a hand with that, please. There's no speakers in the room. I've got a microphone, but no speakers from the computer, so I've got no audio from the computer. I had them on mute. Hang on.
Yeah, sure. I'm unmuted.
Yep, they're not on mute.
Unmuted? Testing?
Yes,
testing?
I believe so.
National.
Still not working.
Can't hear.
Yeah, I would have thought so. When I click audio setup on the little screen, it's asking me for a passcode.
Oh, Gillian, that's really tough. That's really tough.
No, I know. All right.
Oh, that's really stressful for her there.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Jessie?
I can hear you, so I hope it's nothing on our end, but I don't think it is.
I don't think so, no. I don't think it's us, because we were muted there. And then unmuted ourselves.
Yeah. The projector needs to be connected to the speaker system. It's in the auditorium, isn't it?
I don't know.
Okay. I think Ali's going to join now as a fake version of me with the link that I sent. I always send.
And our Tremble. Social. Owen contradiction. The significant extent audio Ghana can be joined rare. What can we have? Nothing. Ramp.
So down the I generally staying on Fouéré being of the Victoria Square. The by place that we import tell
Oh, everybody's just waiting.
there were three. They called out the candle
Oh, hi, Ali.
I can't see Ali.
Ali, she's there, but her video's off.
Video's off.
Are you in your jammers, Ali? Are you in your gym jams?
Owen, hello. We haven't met, but hello. Thank you so. Thank you so much for your patience. It means a lot. It's not an ideal situation to be in at the moment, but thank you. Did you see my very quick notes about what we might go over there? We'll just have our little catch up.
Yeah. Let me just open that again. So we're just going to talk a bit about the background of the work, and then announce about mahogany. One thing I was thinking is like that Owen could also, like, we both have relationships with making work in Australia. So maybe Owen, you'd like to talk a little bit about what you've been doing on the ground in Australia the last couple of months, the last 3 months. So a roundup of that would be great. And then some, I suppose, because a lot of people who are coming today are seeing the work for the first time. Gillian, yeah?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So a bit of context around how we developed the character and what was the kind of politics of the moment in Ireland. I suppose that's important to the audience.
What it's like to operate between, the contemporary art world and the theatre world, because, that I think we mentioned that's a really key part of this work and the way that you and Owen have worked together. So,
yeah.
Aggression that makes you aggressive today.
What is that?
Elsa might need to mute her microphone.
Ali, what is going on?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm going to mute now. And I'm also in bed, so I can't have my thing on. Hi, Owen. Okay, bye. Good luck, ladies. Morning.
Thanks, love. I'll see you for coffee afterwards.
You're going to need so much coffee.
Yeah, I had coffee already, but I'm looking forward to going for a walk and coffee with Alison.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gillian, fair play to you. This is very stressful for you, I know.
Look, it hasn't been the ideal way. Look, just up for I've had a bit of a migraine today, so I'm not the sharpest tool in the book. Just holding on, but that's okay. We'll have everyone here soon. There's Teresa. Is everyone? Wonderful. Lovely. I'm just going to go and pop some lights on so they can take their seats without breaking their necks. So hold on.
Okay, I'm going to get some more water.
That's all right.
Have they got sound?
Just, yeah, we do have something.
Oh, nice. So I'd like to say, welcome back. Hand it over to you. And I'll say it's great we've got options. I think that's everybody. Okay, thank you, everyone. I think we're all here. Isn't it wonderful to have options? So we won't delay any further, and I'll hand it over to Gillian Brown, who will commence the conversation with Jessie Jones and Owen Fouéré. Thank you so much, and thanks again for all your patience.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Welcome to Alan Scott Auditorium. And thank you very much for joining us today for our conversation with Jessie Jones and Owen Fouéré, whose patience has been matched by your own through these troubles. So thank you very much. And thank you very much to Owen, who joins us from Sydney, and Jessie, who joins us from Ireland and who has stayed up all night for this. So my heart goes out to her. Jessie Jones is an Irish artist known for her videos and films that conjure bygone histories into the present to examine contemporary socio-political conditions. She was the Irish representative at the 57th Venice Biennale in 2017, where Tremble, Tremble filled the Irish Pavilion. It was commissioned by curator Tessa Giblin and Culture Ireland in partnership with the Arts Council of Ireland, and makes its Southern Hemisphere premiere here at the Samsag Museum for the 2021 Adelaide International. In the gallery downstairs, Jones summons a feminist phantasm, melding giants of Irish folklore with the archetypal figure of a witch to form her own mythological giantess, who is brought to life by Owen Fouéré. She reads In Utero Gigante, the artist's fictional law proclaiming a new social order from a female perspective. This incredible multimedia installation extends through the gallery as an expanded form of cinema. Now, some of you may know Owen as well. Owen has performed in Adelaide previously, as well as elsewhere in Australia. She is one of Ireland's most renowned actors, and we're incredibly lucky to have her join this conversation today. With that, Jessie, I thought I might hand over to you, and perhaps you can start us off by filling us in a little bit about the genesis of the work and how you came to work with Owen.
Great. Thanks, Gillian. And thanks everyone for your patience and your commitment to bring the work Tremble, Tremble to Adelaide in these very strange times and the conditions. I'm here in Dublin at the moment. I'm sorry I didn't get to come over to Australia. It's a place that holds a dear place in my heart. I've spent a lot of time in Australia and made an artwork there as well a couple of years ago, which we're going to have a screening event around as part of this program as well, to kind of see the relationships between the two works. The work really came about through a conversation between myself and Tessa Giblin, a Kiwi curator who I had collaborated with for a long time. And she was working at the time in Project Arts Centre in Dublin, which is a theatre space as well as a visual arts space. And we had been talking about how to speak to the kind of moment that was happening in Ireland around the social movement that was rising around feminism and a discussion around women's body autonomy at the time. At the time when myself and Tessa proposed to do the Pavilion for Ireland for Venice, we were very motivated by the idea of the pavilion as a space of national representation that could speak to things that were in some ways hidden or not discussed publicly, or that it could in some way ventilate something through contemporary art. And this is something that myself and Tessa share, and Alwyn also, is what is the role of contemporary art, and what is the role of art in terms of working through politics, through metaphor, through allegory, through kind of performative elements, through embodiments. What is the role of contemporary art in relationship to generating conversations that can be impactful to the wider like cultural and political conversation. So when we started making the work, myself and Alwyn, I was a huge fan of Alwyn's work, and making films and trying to think about cinema as something that could feel live in a space was something that was really important to me. So this feeling of how can the space feel three-dimensional, how can we expand the body? So I've been developing these kind of curtain scrims that relate to the film and how they kind of consume the space and move through the space. So this kind of enveloping space was important to me in terms of form. But I suppose the conversations that myself and Alwyn first met, to have a conversation over my mother reading your tea leaves, for 2 hours. So there was a kind of like, a fortune telling kind of moment at the beginning to think through what would be a way of telling a story around this idea of feminism and mythic structures and archetypes of the maternal. But that conversation really developed over time.
And so this work, I mean, it's collaborative at its core, really. I mean, and it's almost more akin to making theatre than a traditional moving image installation in a gallery. When you came to source your team together and to begin the staging of this work, how fully formed was the figure of the witch or the giantess, or was that something that you worked together, Jessie and Owen, to develop?
Yeah, it wasn't very fully formed at all at the beginning. I don't know whether we mentioned giantess, but the feeling of the scale of archetype was something we had been talking a lot about. We'd been talking about, the element of the Furies in Greek theatre, and the kind of archetypes of performance and roles and characters that Owen was very familiar with. How could we imbue them into this character and in a kind of sedimentation? But I mean, the giantism really came about from a moment of recognition to an uncanny part of the law structure in Ireland as well, which at the time in Ireland for 35 years, from the early 80s up until about 2 years ago, there was an amendment in our constitution which literally said that the rights of the unborn, of the fetus, are equal to the mother. And for me, this had always felt like a very uncanny kind of version of like a Swiftian Lilliput, where the equality between these two subjects was enshrined in the Constitution. And I suppose, I had been thinking about that and how to speak to that. And then I went to, Alwyn knows this story. After being meeting with Alwyn and having all these incredible conversations, I went to Pendle, which is a place in England that had a really intense period of witch trials in the 1700s. And I went on a kind of like retreat with some pretty intense feminists and one of my heroes, Sylvia Federici, who wrote this incredible book, Caliban and the Witch. We sat around by the fire and talked about the witch trials, and it was a really intense period of time. And then one night I just had a dream about this giant, and it kind of came and very intense as an image, very much a kind of Gulliver's Travels kind of moment of the body of the maternal mother as this giant like this giant figure, in some way could embody this potential power and this kind of reversal of a patriarchal order. And I always loved like 1950s B movies as well. And strangely, they do have a little bit of a kind of influence on some things that I do think about. And I always loved those 1950s B movies of the giant woman. I mean, this is quite strange to be saying this, as like I can see that I'm like projected massively on the screen. So I'm like quite freaked out by by the parallels in this conversation. But you know, it's also like the feeling of the idea of the maternal body is always a giant to us. Our first encounter with another, as you know, as in terms of cognition, is the maternal body, and that is giant to us, you know. So this feeling that how could we create a figure that is both menacing, has power, has the ability to kind of dominate, but also kind of unconsciously plugs us into that kind of maternal care and structure. So the figure of Temperance Lloyd in a certain moment in the cycle where where Owen breaks the fourth wall and talks directly to the audience, is really that moment where, you know, there is a character that is both maternal and caring, but also she's going to warn you that, you know, it mightn't go so well for you, you know. So
the other interesting thing, I don't know if I'm being picked up here, but one of the first meetings we had when I met you and Tessa, you know, about to do this, was the idea you had at that time was a giant courtroom turned upside down, and I would be underneath it, casting spells or anything like that. So it's almost like then I became the giant and the courthouse became tiny.
yeah.
Which was another powerful kind of flip, I think, of the process of your thinking.
Yeah, that the flip that happens in the work, then it's a really interesting point, and in the work, and it reminds me, Jessie, that you've spoken before as well of your interest in Brechtian theatre and the sort of epic way of working on stage they had, speaking of the particular time. But I wondered if you could speak, perhaps both you and Owen, a little bit about those aspects of this work.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about the Brechtian elements of this work in relationship to the character also. You know, we talked a lot about the character of Mother Courage in relationship to the staging of this. And I think, you know, there's a lot of that kind of the feminine that has the potential for destruction as well as and chaos as well. So there's that sense of representation, but also, you know, the character as well reminded me a lot when I was trying to like develop this character of the witch, reminded me a lot of, as well as Mother Courage, the character of Begbik from Mahogany, where, you know, you have the potential to create this space and this architecture, but also the potential to destroy and create chaos, or even, you know, point to the chaos. Feels really important as a kind of feminine knowing to point towards the chaos.
I think there's a really interesting way of weaving in this history. I mean, you speak about the origin of the work coming about at a time of, you know, when women's bodily autonomy was really under great debate in Ireland. And just coincidentally, a couple of weeks ago here in Adelaide, we had a kind of parallel thing happen here where abortion was decriminalised in the city. So there's this quite uncanny timing that's happened completely unplanned. But it made me, it got me thinking about the objects in the exhibition that You've worked on with a local artist here, Sam Gold, these objects that that speak to parallel histories in Australia and Ireland. If you've seen the work so far, you'll have seen the bronzed bowl that's resting on a shelf full of scented water. That's a bowl that connects to the archetypal figure of Mary Magdalene. What's particularly interesting about that object and what it represents is one, the parallel histories between Adelaide and Ireland in that regard, but also that there is a long standing sort of relationship for Jessie and Owen of making work in Australia. And Mahogany, the project that Jessie just mentioned previously, is an example of that. But Jessie, I wondered if you could perhaps speak a little bit about these new elements to Tremble, Tremble, how they fit into your repeated performance of the work, I guess, and what they might signal going forward.
I suppose every time I make the show, I usually add like an object element as kind of a trace to the calibration of it for that context. The Skull's Bridle, which is in the work, came about through the iteration in Scotland, because that really spoke to particular like trauma around the witch trials in Scotland in relationship to women and being public and voice. In Ireland, the Oracle Stone became the first element that was added to it as a kind of way of thinking about like prophecy and women's wisdom in terms of like predicting things like and then for this iteration I was really moved when I had a discussion with Sam and Gillian about the parallel histories of the Magdalene laundries between Ireland and Australia. And I mean, it's obviously no coincidence. There's very similar, climates in Australia and Ireland, and they have similar histories. So this feeling of wanting to make a connection between the Magdalene laundries, but also to speak to the figure of the Magdalene is very interesting to me in terms of it almost being the figure in which the erasure of Mary Magdalene from so many modes of like patriarchal religious thought is really interesting in terms of like how women and penitence becomes represented in the Western Church. And I was really interested in the particular phrase that very famously Jesus had said to Mary Magdalene, which is Noli me tangere, and how much that resonated. This feeling of do not touch me is apparently what he said. But that really resonated with like the current moment of this removal of touch, this removal of kind of embodied touch between people. So I wanted to make this ritual bowl that would be used potentially in the future for feet bathing as a ritual. And it's filled as well with spikenard, which is the scent that Mary Magdalene used, the oil that she used. So hopefully there's a sense element in the space. It's very hard to get a sense of it across Zoom, but there is meant to be this kind of scent when you first come into the space that reminds us that we're bodies in a space, and that touch is an essential part of our encounter with each other, even though it's temporarily suspended for some of us.
I was going to say it's a particularly poignant element to the work and idea behind the work at the moment, given the situation we've all gone through and that is enduring in Ireland still at the moment. So I know that's something that's forefront in everyone's minds, I think. I wonder then if we might zoom out a little bit and have a think about your practice more widely. Jessie and Owen, as I said, have both created work in Australia. Owen's obviously doing that right now. Jessie, you were here and you made your work Mahogany, and you have spoken to me a little bit about how that has some antecedents or is a sort of antecedent to Tremble, Tremble. Do you want to dive into that work a little bit more? Because we will be showing, this work will be running an online screening from the 16th to the 18th of March for everyone to view. So a little bit of an introduction would be wonderful.
Yeah, I made that film in 2009 when I was in the Gertrude on a residency in Melbourne, and I had this feeling that I just wanted to go to what I felt was, looking at the map in Ireland, the ferry centre of Australia, which is a town called Cooper Pedy. So I kind of worked with a group of about 20 participants who joined me on this crazy road trip. We went to Cooper Pedy and we shot this film in Cooper Pedy in the landscape, and we shot it on film. So it was quite an intense experience, particularly for me as an artist, in terms of like the landscape, and feeling that there was something there that I really wanted to figure out and to be placed within as a space. But I think that one of the things, the connection between Mahogany is definitely the character that Owen plays in Tremble, Tremble. There's definitely a lot of the characteristics of the character of Begbik in The Witch and Tremble, Tremble, but also the relationship with like the darkness of the space. Is we've talked a lot about trying to create a space that was like a non-space, or it could, if you turn the lights on in Tremble, Tremble, she'd probably be in the desert. And I know that Owen has a very strong affection for these types of landscapes as well, and how they kind of produce thinking and allow us to kind of enter into a different thought space.
Owen, do you have any comment to that? It'd be lovely to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, on what part of it? The desert? Yes, absolutely. I mean, the desert for me is I think it's the phrase 40 days and 40 nights in the desert is, I think, one that is a really important one for us to hear. And I think particularly, actually, funnily enough, during this time, when a lot of the talk about isolation and people talking about loneliness and isolation, and I actually feel that this is a fantastic opportunity for isolation. It may be enforced isolation, but I think we've forgotten about the benefits of solitude and how important it is for our spiritual health, amongst other things. So yes, the desert is a very important part of my own practice, I guess, and probably enters into a lot of my thinking. But that's as much as I can comment, really, is the desert bit, because I don't really know the character in the Brecht play so well.
No, and I guess it was an interesting point to pick up, because when you talk about the desert sort of as a place of isolation, and when you walk into Tremble, Tremble in the gallery, there is a definite sense of walking into someone else's space as well, a kind of unfamiliarity that comes in. And I feel like even if you walk in with friends or family, somehow when you're in the midst of watching that work, you do sort of begin to experience it just on your own terms. I mean, obviously it's very dark, so it's hard to read other people's expressions, and we become so focused on your character, Owen, and there is a real almost feels like you're spying on something in some way as the performers move through the gallery space, because of course the work is being activated by a group of performers daily. And even though we've got that kind of isolation, there is something really wonderful about walking into a space again. I think we might all feel this, where there are other bodies and other people carrying out their activities. We've spent so long carrying things out in solitude, that to be next to someone carrying out their ritual, even though you may not be part of it, is
well, funnily enough, that the piece I'm working on myself here, that I've been creating here with Force Majeure, a new piece, is called Duet for the End of the World. And it is essentially based on the idea of being the last person left on the planet. But the kind of layers of consciousness that you start to move through in that kind of isolation, and the moment at which the demons appear. And I guess to a certain extent, and anything that's been buried, all the shadows that have been driven underground start to emerge. So it's so as you're talking about it now, I can see the connection with Tremble. Yeah, I can. But that's all I wanted to say about that, really.
Jessie, I mean, we'll have to wrap up shortly, but I just wondered if we might finish on the idea of ritual here, and whether or not you can speak to us a little bit about the power that ritual might have in bringing about change now, given that is one of the threads running through the Adelaide International Suite of Exhibitions as a whole.
Yeah, I suppose ritual is really important to me in terms of like how I think through form and in art, and it's quite strange as well, because for me ritual is really connected to an embodiment and connected to like being in a place. But one of the things that was very significant in developing this work is, Owen has such an incredible presence on screen, such an incredible presence, but also, such an like undeniable presence when actually live, and trying to synthesize the live with the cinematic image has been a really big component in this artwork. And for me, having this artwork embodied by Owen on screen, obviously, but the performers, Olivia, Eleanor, Sam, and
Emily.
Emily. Having the performers in the space really brings that sense of ritual to life. The work is not something that can be packaged and sent and played without a physical presence in the space. So that synthesis between live performance and the cinematic image and the objects is the actual ritual that's being enacted, the ritual of like being live in a space. And if this year like has taught me anything as an artist, is that I really need that liveness. I really need that like physicality of bodies in a room. Myself and Owen were talking earlier about how difficult it is for people in performance in who work with that ritual of the live this last year, but actually it kind of hardens your fortitude to know that that's what you really care about and what you want to engage in, is work that is physically interacting in the ritual of being live in the room or in the space with others.
Well, that seems like a good place to draw our conversation to a close, because really I think that's something that's come through really clearly through your work, the importance of individual rituals to a sort of wider community and our path forward. So thank you very much, Jessie and Owen. Thank you very much to the audience here for sticking around through our troubles. And I hope that you'll all come back and spend some time with Jessie's work without the crowds of people that may have been in it when you came through today. It's a work that really rewards a couple of visits. So thank you very much. Please join me in saying thank you. Owen, all the very best with Force Majeure, and Jessie, all the very best with getting some sleep now after this. Thank you very much. It's been a very intense 2 weeks for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for everything, Gillian.
You staying there, Jessie?
a bit.
Yeah, I think they've muted us, haven't they? We're muted.